Oh hey, what's up you guys, how's it going? It's Papa, and today I'm going to be showcasing you guys the Purrely list that I have been playing for the current format, and of course, as always, this deck is still a lot of fun.
I'm a pussy pirate, my name is Jack Sparrow!
Now, it's been a long time since I have played Purrely on the channel, I will be honest. I haven't really been too much of a fan of this deck ever since the Sleepy hit and the whole Delicious at 1. So with the introduction of Rarity Collection 2, the Purrely cards have become a lot more affordable than they were before, and that makes the deck just a lot more accessible to most players that weren't able to play this deck before. I do still like this deck. I think it is very underrated this format. I mean, we did just get double Delicious Memory. I mean, we still have 2 Sleepy Memories, so that is what it is. The deck is still very consistent, and with the amount of non-engine that you can play in this deck, it really makes the deck go wild. But if you are looking to play a cheap deck that is still competitive and affordable this format, then I would really highly recommend playing this one. But before we do get into the deck list, be sure to like and subscribe, because if you like and subscribe, it lets me know that I'm doing something right. Without further ado, let's go ahead and get into the deck profile, shall we? Before we do get started as well, I wanted to go ahead and shout out Imperium Duelist for the very nice Minotaur pinks. They're basically like Dragon Shield, just a little bit stronger and a little bit more durable. Imperium Duelists themselves have not asked me to go ahead and shout them out, but I'm going to do so because I actually just like these sleeves, and you know, maybe one day. But yes, let's get into the list. Of course, we are starting off with our 3 big white cat. We are playing 3 copies of Purrely. For those that don't know, this card is not once per turn. When it is normal or special summon, you get to reveal the top 3 cards of your deck, and if you reveal a Purrely card, you get to add it to your hand. And then also, if this card is on the field, you can reveal a Purrely spell from your hand and equip it to it as material and immediately make an Xyz monster. So this card does a whole lot for you, and you definitely want to max out on it because it is your main summon of the deck. But of course, paired with the white cat, we have the 2 copies of Purrely. This card is also very strong. The effect reads that when this card is normal special summon, you can add a Purrely card from your deck to your hand, except a quick play spell. So this card basically gets you access to Yeep. This card gets you to straight Purrely Street, but most importantly, it gets you to Mi Amigo Purrely. The other effect of Purrely is that when you have a Purrely spell in your graveyard, you can equip it to this monster as material and immediately make an Xyz of that specified Purrely spell. But we only play 5 cats. I don't think you really need any more, because if we get to 6, then people are just gonna think I'm crazy. For the spells, we are on 3 copies of Stray Purrely Street. This card is busted. Honestly, this is probably one of the best field spells ever made. This card reads that your opponent cannot target Purrely monsters you control with card effects the turn that they are special summoned, and then once per turn, if a face-up Purrely Xyz monster you control leave the field because of an opponent's card, you can special summon 1 Purrely monster from your deck or graveyard, and then during the end phase, you can also equip a Purrely Xyz monster with a Purrely quick play spell from the deck. So card does a whole lot, and it helps you with your resource game, and then also helps you with the end phase attachments. Being able to get an extra copy of Sleepy Memory from the deck is very strong, but the card just does so much for you, so you definitely have to maximize on it. And of course, we were on 3 copies of Mi Amigo Purrely. Card is cracked. Basically, once per turn, you can pay 500 life points. You can reveal 3 Purrely cards from your deck except for itself, and then you can have your opponent randomly pick one, and then you shuffle the rest back into the deck. It also just has some more added effects to where if a Purrely Xyz monster you control leave the field because of an opponent's card, you can add up to 3 Purrely quick plays with different names from your graveyard to the hand. So it basically helps you just keep grinding out resources, and then it makes it to where you have a much better end game. Card's very busted. Why would you not play 3 of this? And of course, we are maxing out on all the other names as well. So we have the 3 copies of Pretty Memory. Card's really good. All the Purrely quick play spells have the same effect to where you can discard a card from your hand and special summon a Purrely from the deck. And then also every Purrely spell gains an additional effect as well. The second effect of Purrely Pretty Memory is that you can send another card you control to the graveyard, and you can target a card your opponent controls and take it as material. So card's very busted, just giving your Purrely Xyz monster just an extra form of material to help make like a Zeus or help you make a Noir is very strong, so you definitely play 3. And then we play 3 copies of Happy Memory. This card helps you just go for OTK lines, making it to where it can attack monsters a number of times each battle phase, up to the number of Purrely Happy Memories attached to it. So if you just have like 2 to 3 copies of this attached to, say, a Noir with a Delicious under it, odds are you are probably winning that game. And then we are on 2 copies of the Purrely Sleepy Memory. I wish they would give us 3, but you know what? We can only ask for so much, so we're playing 2 of it. The other effect of this card is that during the standby phase, you can draw 1 card during your opponent's standby phase, that is. If you have multiple copies of this attached to the same Xyz monster, then you can essentially draw 2, and if you have the rank up trap card, then you can draw 4 during your opponent's standby phase, which is why this deck is so broken. And then we're on 2 copies of Delicious Memory, the newly added back to 2, because when I was playing the deck, this card was at 1. Basically, the second effect of it is that it gains 300 attack and defense for each material attached to it. So if you have like a infinite material, noir, whatever it may be, then you're just going to be gaining all kinds of attack. And then we're on the 1 Yeep, because this is basically what makes you go into your noir if you don't have the 5 materials already. The card's also very strong because it's a second effect. You can banish this card from the graveyard and target up to 3 Purrely monsters in the graveyard and shuffle them back into the deck, basically making it to where you don't run out of material. But that's going to do it for the Purrely lineup for the main deck. Next we have non-engine. We are on 2 copies of Fenrir. I don't really like 3. I think 3 was just a little bit too bricky when I was trying it. This card is very good for going first and for going second, just being able to force out extra forms of interruption, whatever it may be. The card is just really broken, so I definitely want to play it in some way, shape, or form. This way, we're just playing 2 of it. And then, of course, we're playing hand traps, because if you're drawing 4 cards, why would you not want to play a bunch of hand traps? 1 Ghost Mourner, and then 3 Ghost Ogre, the new supers from Rarity Collection, because my ultis haven't come in yet. We are on 3 copies of DD Crow. Same reason, my ultis have not come in yet. But honestly, I really like Crow this format, mainly because it just tackles so many different decks. Tackles Voiceless, tackles Snake Eyes. It can even tackle the Mirror if you do happen to run into it. And then we're on 3 copies of Effect Veiler, as well as 3 copies of Ash Blossom. You may be noticing that Infinite Impermanence is not in this list. I can understand why you would be upset why this card wouldn't be in it, but honestly, every time I tested Imperm with this deck, the problem that I was having was I was drawing it during my opponent's turn with the Sleepy Memory, and then on top of that, when you're drawing it with Sleepy Memory during your opponent's turn, odds are you won't be able to resolve the Imperm in your hand. So you're basically looking at a dead Imperm, and I've never really liked that. The same reason why I wouldn't play it with the Evil Twin Sprite build that I would play in the past. I just didn't think that you needed it because you weren't going to be able to fully access it. But don't get me wrong, it is in the side deck, so it would only be for going second. I would not play it for going first. And then rounding out the deck is its consistency. We just played 3 copies of Prosperity just because I want to max out on consistency. So that is going to do it for the main deck and the non-engine. Of course, we are on a 40 card list, no more, no less. The deck feels really smooth. I really like this build so far. I really think that you don't need Imperm, but I mean, of course, beggars can't be choosers. You can always play whatever you want because it is all just preference. Moving on to the extra deck though, we are on the 1 copy of Purrely Noir. Card's really good. This is basically what helps you get access to your rank up trap every turn 1, being able to just activate any spell and then equip it, and then you also get to set the trap from the deck is very good. And then we are on 2 copies of Purrely Plump. I think this card is also just very, very strong at 2 now that you have double copies of Delicious Memory. And of course, if you don't need to play the second Plump, then you can always manage the second copy off of Prosperity if you need to. We are on 2 copies of Purrely Beauty. Same thing. You can definitely get away with 1 if you want, but since I am playing Prosperity, I just have to play the second one just in case. If you don't need the second copy, you can always get rid of it. And then, of course, same reason for the Happiness. Happiness is basically what helps you get into your OTK line, so you probably want to keep playing 2 of this card. I definitely wouldn't see myself cutting this card. And then rounding off the cats, we play the big boss herself, Purrely Noir, or Purrely Noir. You definitely have to play 2 of this. I mean, this is basically your win condition is by resolving a 2 material noir, basically making it to where your opponent can't target it when it has 5 or more materials. And then also on top of that too, the card is just very good, being able to shuffle back cards from your opponent's field or their graveyard. So you definitely want to be maximizing the full usage out of this card, so playing 2 of it is just for the best. For non-cats in the extra deck, we are on the 1 copy of Ensemble of Robin. I haven't really used this card a whole lot, but I don't really have a whole lot of other spots that I would play. You could argue the Lyralist Assembled Nightingale. I haven't done too much testing with that card either, mainly because it hasn't come up too much for me, but honestly just playing the Ensemble Robin has, so I would probably just go ahead and stick with the Robin. And then we're on 1 Downer Magician, of course, because we are playing the Zeus, which we play 1 of. I can see the argument for playing 2. If you really want to play 2, you totally can. I would cut the Ensemble Robin for a second Zeus if you'd like, but I am playing the Typhon as well, so that's probably why I wouldn't be playing the second Zeus, just because Typhon is essentially almost as good as Zeus, but Zeus is just better in this deck because, of course, it's Exi spaced. And of course, for the links, we play the 1-copy Relinquish Anima because all of the Purrely monsters are level 1, and if you have like an effect veiler, you can also use that as well. And lastly, we are playing an SP Little Knight, and I do apologize if you aren't able to have access to a Little Knight. That's totally fine. I completely get it. The card is still expensive for no reason, but what you can play instead of the Little Knight is that you can play cards like Sky Striker, Ace Azalea, or maybe like a Nightmare Phoenix, whatever you're feeling. But yeah, guys, that's gonna go ahead and do it for the deck profile. I know it wasn't anything too crazy, but again, it is just a cheaper alternative for the current format. The deck is super cheap and affordable. I kid you not, like the whole core minus like the extra deck is probably like no more than like $20. I mean, you can get all these cards from Rarity Collection. You can get access to them at any point. Probably the more expensive card actually is going to be the Fenrir, but you can totally not play that card if you don't want to as well. But yeah, guys, that's going to do it for the deck profile. Let me know what you think in the comment section down below, and let me know what you're playing after Rarity Collection just came out. But until next time, guys, this has been Papa, and I will catch you all in my next video.